Shorty. I want to address these few things. He is an easy to catch little guy, right? Come to him every day to the pen. He's got his nose on the gate waiting to come out and do something. If these horses don't do that, if they go to the corner when I come out to pick them up to come out and go to work that day, if they run into a corner, that is something that horse is saying to you. I address those things. I don't just go and grab my loop, throw a loop around his neck, drag his ass to the gate, put a saddle on him and take him riding. No, there's a process that we go through. I want him at the gate with his nose on the gate saying, are we ready to go do something today? Are we going to go do something? Because the horse that runs into the corner and doesn't want to catch that saddle, doesn't want to let you bring him out, that horse is telling you that you've been messing around with him and you've been doing it all freaking wrong. Basically, that's what he's telling you. Don't mess with me today because you don't got an idea what you're doing. So maybe pull your YouTube up. Catching him. I want them meeting me at the gate to catch. He's easy to catch anywhere you put him. You turn him loose, walk in there 20 minutes later and he's sitting in your pocket. Tying them up. They got to be able to tie all day long. I want to be able to tie these horses up, bring them out, have them wait for me. Because they wait from the minute that they get here, they are waiting on me to do something. They're either waiting for their food, they're waiting for me to bring them water, they're waiting for me to come and visit them, they're waiting for me to come put flies down, they're waiting for every damn thing. So unless he can stand there and wait patiently, that process isn't set into that horse yet. So he needs to learn how to wait. When I've got that stuff squared away. And this horse will wait all day. You put him in the cross ties, you can put him in straight ties, you can hard tie him to whatever you want to hard tie him, and he will stand there and wait for you until you come back to him. Fly spraying. I buy this shit by the gallon. So you see this Bronco bottle because a customer brought Bronco. I'm not sporting Bronco. I'm not saying Bronco's the best shit you can get because quite frankly, my flies, I can spray the flies directly with this shit. Seems like I come out later and there's more flies than less flies. So that's not what's going on here. I use the Piranha fly spray because it's better fly spray. But my point and what I'm using this for is because I want to show that you can fly spray this horse. Believe it or not, people, I get horses in here that people just went and purchased $15,000 horses. And man, you bring that fly spray out and their heads pop straight up in the air. Their eyes get big like you just came at them with like you just unleashed a fucking lion out of your truck, right? See? And how can you skip this lesson? How can you move on when your horse can't even handle the pressure of being fly sprayed? Now you're gonna throw your ass over on that horse and start trying to teach him something when you can't even teach him to stand still, that you're just gonna spray him with, he don't know what it is, it's just a spray bottle. Good. Nice. So I want them to be okay with these kind of things, right? And if they're not, he won't be for sale. There's videos in there where I'm messing with them. This might be a Facebook video or it might be a YouTube or the one at the sale place on Dream Horse. But when I touch this nail here on these horses' legs, I want them to pick that foot up from me. Right? I want him to do that. I don't want to have to reach. I don't like to reach all the way down to the bottom. I want to just touch that, and he wants to pick it up and give that to me. That tells me he understands what I want. There's communication going on. There's a line of communication. If you don't have that, you're not there yet. That takes time. These are all things that take time on these horses. That's why they're worth a little bit of money. The grooming, you can stand there, groom on him, he'll stay that way all dang day. He doesn't toss around, doesn't want to bite on you, doesn't want to do anything. He'll do some desensitizing to show where he's at, and just pretty much the acceptance of people around him all the time is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at his expression, I'm looking at his demeanor, I'm looking at all of those kind of things. This horse was sitting here pinned ears and his eyes squinted and kind of looking at me like, dude, I'm not too sure what you got going on. I've still got a lot of lines of communications I need to open up with that horse. He's not ready yet. He's not ready for a Yahoo to get him. So if you're new to these horses, I put a couple of things on them this year that I usually don't do with them. I've introduced these horses to working on the drive line. I've done videos for them on the drive line. So that when the new owner gets them, if you are new to horses, that'll give you a way to communicate with this horse before you get into the middle of this thing, to the middle of the damn saddle. Because once you're up on their back, and if you're not familiar with horses and you don't know how to work with one, that's not the place to start to learn. Because if you get on a horse who is on an untrained horse and you get in the back of him, he will teach you so many bad things that it's not even funny. When we were kids growing up, we didn't have the internet, so we didn't have YouTube to go through to see all this kind of stuff. We were out here in the middle of nowhere, pens full of wild horses. My dad was a Mustang guy, so he had us boys, and the way that works, and it still does today, I think, because I'll see on some of them videos, those guys put those kids in some pretty tight spots, right? You know, you'll see old dad really hopping around, not wanting to throw his leg over one, but if he's got Junior messing around with him, he's like, come on, don't be a pussy, throw your leg up on him, get on him and ride. So that's the way that was back then also. Dad would tell us, get on them damn Mustangs. We didn't have enough sense to know what we were getting in the middle of, but we'd get in the middle of them and we'd try to get something done. But you will learn 100 bad habits before you learn one good habit when you're riding those kind of horses and you don't know what you're doing. Because you'll be clueless, you'll have fear kick in, you're gonna have all kinds of other crap going on. Mistrust of this animal and all this other stuff. So what I've done is we put video of the drive lines on them. I've taught these guys how to go pretty nice in the drive line so that it's not gonna be nothing brand new to them. It might be new to you as an owner, but it's not going to be new to them. They'll have an idea of what they're supposed to do, so they can help you find your way around and figure it out. Then when you get on the back of this thing and you're starting to pull on that horse's face, or you're starting to do something up there, you've got an idea what it feels like when you pull and he gives to you. You've got an idea how much pressure it takes to slow him down, how much pressure it takes to release him to move him forward. Because you're putting body pressure and release at the same time. Just lots of things that you can learn on these horses from working them on the ground with that driver. So you'll be getting an animal who already kind of understands that kind of stuff. He can teach you a whole bunch of things. Not everyone out there is a top hand. You'll hear these people get on him and don't pull their face, don't touch their mouth, don't do this, don't do that. Man, if you're brand new getting on a horse, just be careful of the instructions you're following. I'm not here to give you an instruction video. I'm not here to teach you how to ride one of these things. I'm not here to do anything except try to sell this little yellow horse to you. There's lots of things you can learn off him. There's lots of things that I'm going to have on video that I've got going there. You can look at the videos, see how he was doing it before, and then try to just get them back to that point. These guys, you can take a very well-trained horse, go turn him loose, cut him loose out in the field, come back, gather him up 3 years later, and you're not going to have the same horse that you turned loose 3 years ago. But if you did a good job on him and there was a foundation on that horse, you're going to be able to come back to that foundation and rebuild everything and get that horse back to being kind of the same horse he was. Now, the reason he might, if he's done right, trained right, the reason he might not be the same horse that you put up is because his conditioning is going to be different, right? If he's just turned out now and just walking through a pasture and just plopping along out there all day, doesn't need to bend anymore, doesn't need to break there at that rib cage and soften up so he can walk sideways and do all that shit, because generally in nature they don't walk sideways to open gates and that kind of crap like that. They just walk straight to the food, eat their food, turn their asses around, walk straight to the water, get a drink, go find shade and stand under the shade. They're not standing there side passing side to side. They're not folding their necks up and getting down underneath themselves and working that butt and doing all that kind of stuff. So now you're bringing a horse out who is not in the same condition he was when he got put up. So he needs to be reconditioned again. He needs to get his body into shape. He needs to do all that kind of stuff. It'd be like dragging my fat ass out and trying to make me run 10 miles. It just ain't gonna happen because I'm not in condition to do that. But I could be if I did the work, and it might take me 5 months to get in condition to be able to run that. They need the same time to do those kind of things. You can't just take one who doesn't know how to do shit and then start putting his body into new positions and expecting everything to just fall into place. I'll go over this again. You got the magic guy out there who can do it in one damn day. That's not me. I'm not that guy. It takes me longer than a day to do it. A hell of a lot longer than a day. Because to produce a horse that's willing, quiet, no resentment, trying to break down the resistance in them. If you do all that shit too fast and too hard, you're creating a wreck. And that's the problem with us over here when we're starting a bunch of these new horses that come in. If they come in and somebody's been doing everything wrong on that horse for the last 6-7 years, now people want me in 60 days, right? They want me in 60 days to change that horse's whole way of going and his whole way of thinking. Doesn't happen that way. That just doesn't happen because they've learned habit now. It's just the way that they have existed amongst humans and that kind of stuff. So now we need to try to change their way of thinking. We need to try and change their way. I've got one who can't look into the circle, that his body is already formed to just looking away. Every time you look at him, he just wants to look the other direction because he is so just not with you that he wants to be somewhere else. Well, it takes a little bit to get that shit right, to get him to want to look. That when I'm talking to you, dude, you understand I'm talking to you. There's a connection going on. That takes time to get done on a horse that has been put in the other position to where he is thinking opposite, where all he wants to do is get away. So anyway, we covered those kind of things. This is a nice little horse. He's safe to where he's not going to be kicking kids. He's not going to be kicking your dog, killing your damn dog on top of everything. I mean, you could just see what you're looking at. And go, I can get lost in conversation for hours at a time, but this is what you're spending that little bit of extra money on. It takes time to get them homes, people. They don't come this way.